Bandits are hostile.
HQ, this is Alpha Assault. I'm on my way, bearing 025.
ETA 34 seconds.
Alpha Assault, this is Bravo Cadet. I've got bandits all over me. Get down here.
Sit tight, Bravo 3. I've got visual.
I've got evacuators out. I'm targeting system, Savage. I'm in bad shape.
Enemy detected.
Behind me, two of them. Be on the rise.
Roger, I've got it.
Targeting.
It's got a lock on me. It's got a lock on me.
Targeting. Warning. Ammunition level. Critical. Weapon depleted.
Alpha Assault, this is HQ. What is your situation? Alpha Assault, this is HQ. What is your situation? Please comply.
Mech Warrior, 31st Century Combat. That's a cool trailer.
You want to see another cool
That-
trailer?
That's actually the intro to the very first Mech Warrior game.
Oh,
I can stream the Battletech trailer.
oh
the intro.
okay.
Yep,
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
I think we're just going to start with that. And kind of, hello, everyone. This is the Battletech special for Lord of the Dunces. And today it's very special because I don't have to explain the lore of today alone. I have Matchstick, who is also into
Yo.
Battletech.
I made a Google slide.
You made a
Yeah,
Google
so-
slide.
PowerPoint.
Yes, so we're gonna show Changhis the wonderful world of Battletech. And yes, I am one of those people who only recently got into Battletech like last year.
Same.
The only thing
Yeah, and-
I know from what you guys have told me is Battletech does take some stuff from like other franchises.
Dude, every
Yeah,
franchise
so-
takes from other franchises.
Well, yeah, but like it's like I think like you said like some stuff is just straight up taken from like Macross.
Yeah, so Battletech.
That it was literally taken from Macross.
Yeah, so
Ah.
so I don't remember if it was. I don't know if it was a game that was developed to be like a direct like Macross style game, but they wanted to make so back in like the 80s, right?
Hmm.
It was a bunch of guys who clearly loved mecha anime, and they wanted to make a miniatures game.
Hmm.
And they had a license to use the designs, and then Harmony Gold happened.
Ah.
And so for a while, a lot of the popular mechs at the time were labeled unseen, and they had to redesign them, some of them.
Ah.
And that's their modern iterations. So so in lore there is literally there was a time where the mechs from Dugran, Fangs of Dugran, and Macross. Those designs were explicitly in the world of Battletech.
Ah.
All right, so so for people who don't know, Battletech is a miniatures game that is all about giant robots fighting each other, and they created this crazy world that is is what people would now know as like Dune combined with World War One, combined with every space opera, old-fashioned space opera, into a whole universe.
Okay.
Woo.
All right. Imagine Dune, but like here's a description I heard. Imagine Dune, but they increased on the You should probably want to share the screen, Ninjato, because this will still be a pretty cool background. But they increase the mysticism and the science fantasy aspect, and then you get Warhammer, and then you go the other direction, and they increase the politics and sort of the hard science fiction, and then you get BattleTech.
Yeah,
Which way, Western man?
yeah, and I would say this, like in general, I like this universe better than Warhammer as a
Alright.
universe because they take their different direction in world building. Where Warhammer is more expands outwards, like expands where the amount of stuff that is there. Like you not only have like the Imperium stuff, but then you have the Xeno stuff that its own thing. But there's a lot of Xenos that you can go into, as opposed to BattleTech. It's a very small area comparatively.
But to be fair, Warhammer does have the budget to develop it a whole lot
Yeah.
more than BattleTech.
But here's the thing about the difference: BattleTech is deeper lore. And what I mean by deeper is that the few things they focus on, they have. You can make long documentaries on, as opposed to Warhammer. If you pick, there's a few factions that have a lot of deep, like Horus Heresy, for example. But if you go
60 something books,
like if you just pick like a random Space Marine chapter that is not the main Space Marine chapters that gets pushed and gets their own army boxes, nothing.
You'll at most you'll get like a page and a half.
Yeah, and like a character, a paragraph. BattleTech does a lot better with that because its world is mostly developed by introducing new mechs and through book series and source books, as opposed to Warhammer, where the universe is designed, the franchise is designed a certain way where, in order to expand upon the lore, you have to introduce more stuff continually. Like you need to get a new unit of guardsmen to get more info on the guardsmen, for example.
Alright.
And to move forward. While in this one, you could just introduce a battle mech and nothing changes. So that way, we could go more further into it. So let's just start with the history.
Yeah.
So in our year of our Lord 2020, two things, very important things.
What?
Oh, well.
Oh, I can't wait for the year of 2020 to come.
I think they, in the more updated, they moved it forward a bit, but.
I don't know, Peggy 12. Peggy 12.
The British.
Okay, do you want me to do the
Sure.
You want to do this first? All right.
Peggy 12.
This is really kick-ass, though.
Alright. 2107.
Yes.
Oh, good old Nikki Cameron.
By the way, that was a slight inaccuracy to the lore, but it was cool. All right, so that's just a
robots.
brief. That's a brief visual history of BattleTech.
All right.
All right, what do you think of Battletech from just that video?
Just from that intro alone, besides the pretty cool looking robots, I'm guessing usually a lot of mech stuff with that kind of tone, not a very good time to live in.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Peggy
So,
12.
you, so the universe begins in the original lore in the year 2020. So, two important things happen. One, humanity united under a world order.
Hmm.
So all those world government conspiracies are true.
Ah.
But two,
Damn.
General Motors.
Globalism.
But two, General Motors developed a new engine.
General Motors?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
I gotta know, are they still around? I gotta know now.
By the way, this was written in the 80s, so they were very hopeful, by the way. So General Motors developed a dual nuclear engine.
Huh.
Like dual fission. It's like
Motors of all people.
Yeah.
No, they're still around. They're still around.
Yeah. So they developed it, but it didn't it didn't catch on at that point. It becomes important later. And then, as you see from the video in 2107, that's when the first what is called jump ships were developed. And jump ships are the form of it's basic. Think of the hyperspace lanes.
You know, it's like quantum entanglement. All right, we're going to teleport you from this place to that place, kind of.
You know, like a light speed.
All right.
Yeah, so they
It's
developed
all from
basically
General Motors.
Yep.
When can I see my my Chevrolet Lightspeed engine?
Well,
I don't know.
I think the fast and light travel's like it's teleportation, but
Alright.
the reason why it takes so long to get from point A to point B is because it has to charge up. And it takes a while for it to charge and stuff like that. And then that's like it takes like a week or something to get from like the sun to Tau City or something.
Yeah, so during this period, it starts a period of pure expansion where there are colonies all over the galaxy into new stuff, and they also have terraforming technology too. Some of it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Some form of terraforming technology to make worlds habitable for humans. And during this time also, a bunch of things happen. So the big one is culturally. Feudalism was popping up.
I see.
Because of the distance of communications from different points, local rulers became very important, and thus noble houses.
We don't have
assembled.
interstellar communications. That hasn't been invented yet.
Yeah.
And that plays interstellar communications plays a surprising amount of role in BattleTech.
Yeah, in this universe, just having the ability, the internet is important.
The internet's important.
So much like in Death Stranding, you need those guys to carry the messages from point A to point B in space.
Insert some folk song about the Pony Express.
Yeah.
Alright.
But also during this point, because of the rise of partly during this period, different planets decided to make started connected together, and this developed the great noble houses. So you're having space nations,
Hmm.
and thus we get the 5 major noble houses in the Terran hegemony. And the Terran hegemony at this point is ruled by a republic.
Hmm.
They don't last long.
They don't last long.
Yeah, a republic is a huge air quotes. It's
Like
a republic.
most republics and Battletech don't last long.
Oh.
About
So-
one generation.
So in Battletech, if you're a revolution,
Get used to feudalism.
get used to feudalism.
Get
Okay.
used, yeah. It like one planet could be a republic, but in terms of galactic scales, it's a planet. It's
Unless you're in the Free Worlds League, and then that's like the exact opposite.
Huh.
yeah. So and
you
so
don't really live there either.
so at this point you have like the great noble houses, and they have like their big war fleets and their tanks, and they're now getting at war with each other and starting something called the Age of War.
Hmm.
If I'm thinking if it's during this time. And essentially what happened is they went the hard way that maybe we shouldn't nuke each other,
Hmm.
because that's
Ma-
what they've been
ma-
doing. They've been nuking planets.
Maybe having my planet salted, the ground salted with radiation, means that crops won't grow, and I can't export those crops and sell them, and can't make a profit.
Yeah, so beforehand it was all, think of a space battleship Yamato.
Okay.
Or so everything was revolving around big warships, big starfighters, and then of
Mhm.
course on the ground you have tanks and infantry, all that stuff. At this point, the major operations for battles was the spaceships were barred the planet,
Hmm.
and then the infantry comes in because best way to use your warships, your big giant ships, to take over planets without casualties on your end. And so, but the Ares Convention, which is, by the way, led by the Compellans of all people, you'll see the great irony later
Right
on.
here, they're numbered by when they came into being. The Free Worlds League turned into the Federated Suns, Draconis Combine, Lyran Commonwealth, and Capellan Confederation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And by the way, they didn't immediately assemble into those states. They started out small, then they expanded onwards.
Yeah.
But during this time of Age of War, where they decided to make a rule book of how you conduct war, which basically banned a whole lot of things, the Terran hegemony is the most technologically advanced country at this time. So they wanted to remain the best. And it's because of that, the military-industrial complex decided to take the industrial mechs. So at this point, mechs were used mainly for industrial work.
Hmm.
And one of them had the bright idea to apply that into warfare.
And that's how we get Mr. Mackey. Okay?
Huh.
It's called the Mackey.
The Mackie, that's their robots.
That's this one right here.
Ah.
You see the Terran Hegemony logo right there.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, and the first mech warrior was Charles Kincaid.
Okay.
And so during the testing, it showed that one mech could take out like a whole bunch of like 4 tanks during the test very quickly, and then in actual combat it just proved that they were very strong.
Ah.
And thus, once the Mackie showed up, the game changed to where battle mechs became a major part of the military industrial complex.
All right.
So now you not only have spaceships and tanks and infantry, you now bring in the battle mech.
Battletech is a very combined arms game.
All right.
All right. What happens next? All right. So what happens next is, after a while of like 4 years later, we have a problem. We have many nation states constantly at war. So you know what's the idea? Their brilliant idea is
What?
to form a federation.
Called the
I've seen-
Star League.
I've seen enough Gundam to know where this is going.
Well, don't worry. Unlike Gundam, this federation is more competent.
Uh,
By how much?
By
A little bit.
Well, they at first they are incredibly incompetent, but they are founded by the Terran hegemony, and they're like, "Hey guys, why all this fighting? Why not trade with us and find somebody else to fight?" So Ian Cameron, right here, he got his boys, the Free Worlds League, Capella Confederation, Federated Sons, Draconis Combat, and Landcraft, and they were like, "All right. Let's get our entire military force, go to these smaller nation bordering us, and kick the shit out of them instead of kicking the shit out of us." And they're like, "Yeah." They're like,
and it was very convenient that they didn't join the Starry Whaling League. And guess what they decided to do with those nations?
What?
Second-class citizenship.
Wow.
all right, we're all right. We're gonna call this the reunification wars, but that's a little bit inaccurate since you were never unified with us. But we could call it what we want. So we're gonna kick your ass.
Yeah. So now the Star League. So the way the government worked in the Star League in terms of the noble houses is that instead of having decide which of the noble houses to lead the whole Star League, they had another one. They had the noble house that has been basically the president for the Terran hegemony for centuries, House Cameron, to be the ones in charge. And it's House Cameron this was their baby, so you know that they weren't gonna give up power. But some other guy, lead the Star League after they're done. Their work is done. But so interesting things about the what is called the periphery nations. They didn't join the Star League because they didn't trust them.
All
I
right.
wonder why.
And then they get proven right. More onto that.
All right.
So during this time, it's a golden age. Like,
All right.
like everything is awesome. Everyone got money. Everyone is having a good old time.
Everything's cool when you're part of the team.
Yes, exactly. So
Whether you
all
like
the
to or
inner
not.
sphere is having a great time. They're partying. They're making money. There are some conflicts. We don't talk about the hidden wars. Don't mention that. They're just
Why not?
minor problems because they're hidden, and we want to make the Star Leagues look like the pure good guys here because of what happens next.
All right.
So one of the periphery states was called the Rimworld's Republic.
This one right here.
Okay.
And as we keep mentioning, republics don't last. So it quickly became a dictatorship. But because of the leadership that ran the Rimworld's Republic were on good terms with the Star League, because their situation of how they joined the Star League was the house that ruled them wanted to join the Star League, but the people didn't. So because of that, they have like a good rapport. And for centuries, they've been planning something. They were planning a boogaloo. They were slowly getting privileges that allowed them to build up their military and stuff. and secretly, and it was like earning favors to slowly pry the relationship between the periphery and in the inner sphere even more. Even maybe even support the occasional rebellious movement.
Ah,
And finally, we get to an era where the current Star Lord, the current First
Oh
Lord,
yeah,
mm,
yeah. So the First Lord, who is like the head of the Star League, also was mysteriously killed off in a mining accident.
and now it's left
mining
with his
accident.
child son being like, whoop de doop de doo. All I am here was with this Russian prick who's just going off doing military stuff. I need attention, and then here comes Mister Stefan Amaris.
Mining accident.
Yeah, there's clear evidence that it was planned. I think it was even in the RimWorld's Republic, or
What happened to the previous guy? He died in a mining
like he,
accident.
yeah, he was like like he was inspecting a mining facility that because at this point, like he realized that I need to patch relations with the periphery state, so I need to get a tour going.
Ah.
It was during like a peace talks tour. Um, so now we get into Richard Cameron, and
Richard.
yeah,
I thought it was Nicholas Cameron.
no, I think it's Richard Cameron.
Nicholas Cameron. I think Nicholas Cameron was one of the other ones.
Yeah. Let me just briefly check. Yes, it is Richard Cameron. I was right. Thank you. I am smart.
You are
Okay,
smart.
so he ruled very poorly
Hmm.
because Currency was not really a good father figure,
Ah.
and
I like Kerensky, but he sucks at being a dad.
yeah, Kerensky.
That's kind of a common theme with him.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Nicholas Kerensky is a Chad,
Alright.
except for being a father to both his actual children and to his surrogate child. So
this is Kerensky, the bald guy
Alright. Hmm.
on the right, the bald guy without the goatee.
So anyway, so Stefan Amaris managed to weasel his way into Richard Cameron's graces of being his yes man and used his position to even further divide Richard Cameron from the rest of the great lords of the Star League. And so even further, and thus he also incited a periphery rebellion. And thus Nicholas Kerensky was sent to basically smack down all the other
Alexander Kerensky,
not his failure
names.
of a son. Yeah, anyway, so Kerensky had to go out and smack all the rebellious states, which conveniently did not include the RimWorld's Republic. And conveniently, Stefan Amaris offered to bring his soldiers into Terra. Yes, in this world, Earth is called Terra. I don't get it why in old sci-fi they change Earth to Terra.
Terra's a pretty badass name.
Terra's a pretty cool name.
Except when every other sci-fi universe uses it.
Hey, if it works, you stick with it. Terra. Behold, Terra.
Okay. So, then one day, after most of the world's forces are RimWorld's loyalists, he decided to give Cameron a little present. A crystal gun. A diamond gun.
Alright.
And guess what he decided to use it?
Takes the diamond gun, points it at Kerensky, and hey, let's test this out. Bang.
Boom.
Bang.
and thus incites the coup, where Cameron gets killed, he takes over, and then he had to battle off the greatest bodyguard in all of human fiction,
Ah,
the Black Watch.
the Black Watch.
Basically, think of a bunch of angry Scotsmen driving battle mechs who are trained to be like the most badass warriors in the galaxy.
Ah,
Because you see, Richard Cameron comes from a Scottish background, so he's like, "Oh yeah, I like those Scots."
I like them Scots.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I'm Scottish.
I'm Scottish.
Yeah, so while they failed to protect the Camerons, because they gave Amaris a hard time. A whole group of them. The last group that was like fully assembled, that didn't go into guerrilla warfare, had to be nuked after them fighting waves of elite Rimworld guards.
Ah.
So after his coup, Kerensky finds out and he returns home.
It ends up being like this picture. Just
yeah. And by the way, this big slap fight, this big beatdown lasted about a decade.
Okay.
And destroyed everything.
I destroyed everything.
You see, Stefan Amaris was dead. So was the Star League at this point.
All right.
Yeah, because after this, so you see, the Great Houses did not get involved much. They just stand in the sideline mostly and let a lot of their younger people in their young nobility joined the Star League to gain experience. But afterwards, once the Star League was collapsing, they didn't mind like taking a few more worlds and add it to their own pockets. And
I know Kerensky ended up nuking a bunch of Draconis Combine worlds.
Alright.
But the Draconis Combine are dicks.
Yeah, we'll get into those guys. But so they assembled together, and they decided, okay, the Star League is a failure, so
we're gonna create.
So Kerensky, you're gonna stand by. We're not gonna make you the new leader, even though that would make the most logical sense, because we think the Star League is just a failure in general. So we're just gonna decide who's gonna be the first lord among us, the great houses. And we clearly know how to decide equally.
Oh.
So Kerensky looked at that.
This is a 5 second. There's a 5 second montage right here between.
Yeah, and so Kerensky, knowing what will happen, decided, fuck this shit, I'm out, and I'm taking all of the most advanced weapons that we have. Anything that we can grab, we're taking. All the personnel who wants to join me, we're going off out of the inner sphere. We're going off to outer space. We're leaving Mother Earth. Screw you, human race.
I'm going to create my own Star League with blackjack and hookers.
Nice.
We form our own Star League.
Well, blackjack
and then we'll get to that at some point. Let's just say Kerensky's idea was a partial success. Partial.
Exceeded just
in another point of view, you could say it's an absolute failure.
Any reasonable people say it's an absolute dumb idea.
It succeeded just a little bit, just a tiny bit.
Yeah. All right. So what's the next one?
We're starting into the Great Houses now. With the first one.
So, by the way, this is the era called the Succession War.
All right.
What happens after, and this is where the main BattleTech game started from. technically from like the third
The
one.
third one, and then in the books they introduced the fourth Succession War.
Yeah.
Ah.
So just imagine, and each section war is basically a world war.
Oh, fun. That's gonna turn out well.
All right, so first we got the first nation, House Merrick.
Hmm.
Who is in control? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Of the Free Worlds League.
Okay.
All right, so Changhis, do you
Yes.
remember that picture I showed you of the Holy Roman Empire?
There's a lot of pictures you show me of the Holy Roman Empire.
You know, the one with the political map that looks absolutely fucked.
Yeah.
This is that nation.
Oof.
And then it's even worse because you know how the Holy Roman Empire at least have an emperor?
Hmm.
This is pure democracy.
Like not like actual democracy, like the
Pure
like,
republic. It's a pure republic.
Hmm.
well, I mean, it's a democracy if you count like, well, I mean, yeah, it'd be a republic, but it feels more. It's like
It's the closest
Yeah, it's
thing
a
to a
republic.
full. Yeah, it's the closest thing to a full-on constitutional. This is the closest thing to America.
Okay.
It's not very close.
It's not
Yeah,
very close.
it's the closest thing to America in Battletech, which is not very close, but it's chaos.
If you want, all right, this is why I concluded this as the meme.
All
Free
right.
Worlds League, the Free Worlds League, the Free Worlds League.
Hmm.
It's also the youngest of the great houses in the successor states. It was created even before the Terran hegemony.
Oh yeah,
Ah.
it's the oldest, not the. Unless you're talking about the lords.
I'm talking about like nations.
Okay, as a nation state, it's the oldest.
Yeah, they also
Alright.
really like the color purple.
Hmm.
Which is awesome. I love purple.
Purple's a very underused color.
Purples.
Which is there's also the reason why I included a guy with an anti-Merrick hat on there.
Hmm.
Because that's probably half of the Free Worlds League, and they're able to legally say it.
Yeah.
Which certain other nations, you would probably just die if you said that shit. If you said that shit about Merrick. If you're in the Capellan Confederation, and you say shit, if you talk shit about Liao, how the Free Worlds League people talk shit about Merrick, you are gonna be you are gonna that degenerate is gonna end up on a cross.
Hmm.
What do you mean? What do you mean? There was no degenerate that was hanging up on the cross. He never even existed.
Okay. A more accurate example would be if you talk shit about House Karita in a Draconis Combine, like you talk shit about Merrick in the Free Worlds League, and the Draconis Combine, that degenerate would probably actually end up on the cross.
Oh yeah, those guys, yeah.
Hmm.
Here's one of the most notable members of House Merrick, Thomas Merrick.
Alright.
Would you like to know the most notable thing about Thomas Merrick?
Sure.
He's a body double. He's not even a Merrick.
Ah.
You also want to know something fun?
Hmm.
One of his sons ended up becoming a body double.
Oh.
It gets. We'll get to it. There's some other. It's tied to another faction. So
yeah. This is you can see sort of their parliament right here. Here's their most. I put in like one of their the most famous mech that they're known for use for, shown right here and here, which is called the Awesome.
Hmm.
Pretty cool name.
Just a big fat dude with 2 limbs that are big guns,
All right.
and I love it.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
I don't know. So far as everything makes pretty much sense.
Yeah.
Everything's shit. It's not a good world.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get into, and they're all different flavors. So let's go on to the next flavor.
Oh, there's
House
even...
Davion.
Oh, the most decent
self-important
flavor.
failure.
So how are these guys shit?
They're up. They're smelling their own farts.
Yeah,
Ah.
this is Space Britain.
It's a space Britain, France. Space Britain / France.
Ah.
But yeah,
So,
more on
yeah.
the good side.
Yeah, like they have a. They're very much about the. They're the goody two shoes of the setting,
All right.
where they're all about like the common man, and they constantly espouse democracy and the greatness of freedom and stuff. But
They live under a dictatorship.
it's a constitutional republic. No, it's a constitutional monarchy, technically.
All right.
And also, but unfortunately, much like England throughout medieval history, it's very prone to lord squabbles that leads into a lot of civil wars.
Though a lot of the lord squabbling is mitigated by the fact that they have like honor duels,
Oh.
which does mitigate the civil wars, but they still occasionally happen.
Oh, yeah. Usually, when a civil war happens, it's big time, and they're basically out of a fight for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Their capital is called New Avalon, which is
Alright.
which is
Yes, and are you mentioning the New Avalon Catholic Church?
they have they're Catholic.
Ah.
They
No,
have a
not
pope.
just any Catholic. They have their own branch of Catholicism.
Huh.
And the Pope has his own mech.
The Pope has his own mech.
Yeah, that's from recent lore too, because so recently New Avalon was captured by the Draconis Combine, and the Pope, as part of the effort to retake it, he rallied a bunch of people to go on a crusade to retake it.
Huh.
Retake the Holy Land.
Retake the Holy Land.
Yeah. The capital of the Free World League is called Atreus, if you want to know.
Ah.
Not as important as New Avalon is to the Frederated Sons.
Probably because I wouldn't be surprised if their capital moved several times in the Free World League.
Yeah, I bet. There are actually some YouTube
Probably have
channels
multiple
that go-
capitals at the same time.
Like there is
Alright.
definitely YouTube channels that delves deeper into the histories of Pacific eras. We're just doing overview stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Huh.
All right, are we doing the neighbor? Oh yeah, the most popular weapon is the rifleman, which I think is actually an unseen mech.
Right here.
Huh.
I think the
It's right here.
rifleman.
This is the rifleman.
The rifleman.
Yeah.
Looks like a metal.
He's the-
It's meant for they're all right. The Free Worlds League play style in the tabletop is like they have a little bit of everything. The
All right.
Federated Sons love guns. Guns.
Guns. I need guns. Lots of guns.
Yes, actually, the rifleman is actually an unseen mech. It was the Macross destroyed defender.
Ah.
This is their sort of capital building. Merrick is a captain general. That's their head of state. This head of state is a prince. Even if you're a chick, you're a prince.
Oh, wow.
They love the
I'm seeing
color
that.
yellow and orange, and their elites units are colored in red, white, and blue. And to include in notable characters, this is Hanse Davion, who is a man who just can't stop winning.
He
Oh,
can't
yeah.
stop winning. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
He also looks like a Ronald Reagan, which I find funny in this image.
Yeah. Also, just to warn you, so there are some people who don't like Davion for a while, because they were censored the good guys, so they had the Ultramarines problem for a while, where they get kind of written more favorably.
All right.
It's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, the writers have a new favorite.
Ah.
Ultramarines, get the fuck out of here. Meet Grey Knights.
Grey Knights.
No.
All right.
Hanse Davion, what he did, he was the prince of the during the late Third Succession War,
Okay.
and during and in between the Third and Fourth Succession War, he met with the House Steiner of the Line Commonwealth, which is the blue section over here. And the House Steiner leader, Katrina Steiner, was like, have my daughter. Let's make an alliance. And he was like, okay. And then during the wedding, he was like, all right, everybody here, all the lords are here. Yay, yes to peace. Oh, look at this cake. Look at this nice little cake. Gort takes a bite. He's like, this man, make a speech. Fuck peace. I'm gonna invade all of y'all.
Like, his lines was literally, he raised the glass to his wife and he goes, my dear, I give you the compelling confederation, which
is the green guy. And he nearly did it. He took half of it, which is a lot more than anybody else has done. He also, the leader who was at the leader of the compelling confederation who was at the wedding, he drove him insane at the wedding because he realized that, oh fuck, I'm not here. The people that is stationed at my nation are fucking idiots. So my nation is fucked, and he goes insane, and he tries to pick up like all the pieces of plate that has the plates have the actual plates have Davia, because he's a fucking he's an asshole. Put the battle plans on the actual plates and forks and spoons. So the leader of the Capella Confederation was trying to grab all of it in his rush to leave. It's just a great scene watching. You can just imagine the smuggish grin coming off of this guy and this asshole's face.
and then I bet he and his newly wedded wife, you probably know what they did at night.
All right.
He actually had a lot of kids, so probably.
Oh.
And then one of those children
was an absolute bitch.
Oh yeah.
But he was a cool dude, Hanse Davion.
Yeah. We'll get to her later. Okay, so next nation.
Yeah. House Karita, the Draconis Combine.
Okay, I'll explain it just to simplify Changhis. They are the weeb faction.
But not
just any weebs, okay? When you think of a good weeb faction,
wait. Sorry.
They love samurai. They are honorable. Yeah, they could be jerks, but it's more like the standard samurai. They are not that type of weeb.
Oh.
They are the weebs who looked at Imperial Japan and thought, that's a good idea.
But I can do one better.
Okay.
They didn't go far enough. Let's turn that shit all the way to 11.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, let's also have some Islam in there.
They have a lot of Hindu people as well, I think.
Yeah, it's basically
Hold
just
a second. I need to
a
go get
what
drink.
if Imperial
water.
Japan took over all of Asia,
Mm.
like from Japan to India. What if they took that entire region
Uh huh.
and you make that into a nation? I don't like them.
Wow.
And in fact, they have a tactic which is basically drown their enemies in light mechs.
Okay.
And so most of them will die,
Oh.
but because of the sheer numbers, they will probably win
Some
at
of
the
you
end.
may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Exactly.
Ah. Not really a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah, it has some cool characters. Like they're awesome as like bad guys, and there has some cool moments.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Oof. Yeah,
their
that's
purpose
a
is to be the bad guys, and they fulfill it well.
they fulfill it well. Good job. Are we the baddies?
So also they have as you see that mech is the dragon.
Oh.
I think this is the quintessential Kurita mech. I don't know much about it, but I've heard it like been described as it.
I know it's one of the few mechs that actually would carry a sword.
Huh.
Or at least like memes have it that it carries the katana. Because you know,
It's-
Kurita is samurai.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Their purpose is to be genocide and samurai lepers.
Wow.
I already explained like
Okay.
they're basically one of the primary bad guys in Battletech stories.
What a bunch of assholes.
They they're n- they don't feel like pure evil,
Mm-hmm.
but they are massive assholes.
Ah.
And they tend to start a bunch of crap.
Yeah. Their home planet is called Luthien, which is a surprisingly non-weebish name.
Oh yeah, and you know what they call their leader?
What?
The coordinator.
Of worlds.
Coordinator of
The
worlds.
The coordinator. And they believe that the coordinator is superior to everyone else.
Ah, they
coordinator
really
right
are
there.
weebs.
Yeah, look at this. Just look
Even
at
so,
that.
they
Look
borrow-
at that chamber.
So yeah, clearly the Fire Lord really loves Gundam Seed.
Oh, yeah.
Fire Lord.
If I gotta say one thing, I think the Federated Suns have the coolest name and coolest symbol. I think it's most unique.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty
But
cool.
has for notable figures, we have Fyodor Kurita.
Alright.
I don't know much about him, but he has his own book series, and I've heard him been described as a Giga Chad.
Okay.
Yeah. House Steiner.
Yeah!
All
Ah,
right, Ninjato. I know you want to get to that part, but I'll explain this. I got this.
No,
I got
no,
this.
no. But okay, so me and Matchstick love House Steiner. Steiner is probably
you guys
my
always talk
favorite.
about you guys always talk about Steiner. What's your deal?
It's German.
Ah.
They're modern day. They're basically Germany in general, even modern day Germany. Where in modern day Germany, they're the economic powerhouse of the setting. Like
Ah.
before Ill Clan. I'll preface before Ill Clan.
Fucking Ill Clan.
What's wrong with Ilk?
Well, I mean, they weren't the economic powerhouse even then, because the Free Worlds League took it over after the clan invasion. Remember?
I tried to ignore stuff after the clan invasion.
Why?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
It's not as good.
Okay.
I will explain it at the end after we're going to do the general overview. So, but
yeah,
So they're everything Germans. Like if
Mhm.
you think of something Germany and all the problems they have potentially have, excluding the time they were Nazis. That's the only time.
They
Ironically,
the most German faction is is the least Nazi-ish.
yeah, that's funny. That's the funny part.
And even but even with a mech like this,
Huh?
least Nazi-ish.
A
Least
mech with
Nazi.
a skull on it.
That's amazing.
Are we the bad? They got skulls on it.
Are we the baddies? No.
Are we the bodies?
And the other guy says no, just immediately.
Yeah. So they have their they are the economic powerhouse. So what's their weakness? Well, with money,
Just look at this.
All right.
What do you think?
What is that outfit?
That's
got
a
like
lot of medals.
he's got like awards like bedazzled on his.
All right, what do you
uniform.
what do you think? What do you think is their problem with an image like with a meme like this?
An image like that?
you know what that person is from?
No.
North Korea.
I don't think that's an accurate. Well, it is both an accurate description, but it's like yeah, I mean, still it's from North Korea.
Okay. What are the Norths up to this time?
No, no, their leadership are just they get random medals.
Oh.
don't
they
prove-
are pay to win.
Oh.
They are oh my son Jimmy he doesn't like his role as a infantryman, pays a huge donate. Okay, my son Carl, that's a proper Steiner name,
Huh.
doesn't like his role as an infantryman. Massive bribe. Oh, my son Carl doesn't like his role as a mech warrior. Massive bribe. Oh, my son Carl doesn't like being general of the army. Massive bribe. Oh,
Ah.
my son Carl finally has found his way as a utter failure of a politician.
Bribes his
yeah,
way.
yeah. Essentially, yeah. That's how their leadership tends to. There are few leaders that are very competent in the Lyran Commonwealth
Alright.
because and thus
The
begins the
ones
popular meme about how they scout an area. So
wait
in
no
the
no no
world
no
of Battletech,
wait I got this. So Changhis,
Uh
I can tell you a little story. It's about
okay.
once upon a time in East Asia there was this nation called the Mongol Empire.
Alright.
Now this Mongol Empire was led by a name of Genghis Khan. And he got his number two man, and he's like, all right, I want you to explore the go west and explore the nations there. And that man went into the Middle East and basically destroyed the entire Middle East. And then he went into Europe and he absolutely destroyed the Russian princes.
Alright.
And he's like, my scouting mission is done. I decimated both the Middle East and a whole bunch of Eastern Europe. I'm gonna go home now.
I'm gonna go home.
That is the meme of the Steiner scouting party.
Amazing.
yeah, they don't know how to use their tech. They have a plethora of a class of mech called the assault mech, which is the heaviest form of mech.
Uh-huh.
They are durable. They are designed to go and they're basically designed to destroy everything in its path, but
Here,
it's very slow.
I got another joke.
Alright.
What?
So an Atlas general, if he fought a him obviously using an assault mech fights a light mech, he'd be like, okay, squash on to the next one. If he fights a light mech and the light mech does some damage, he's like, oh, okay, I wait, I forgot the middle part. But if the light mech defeats, if the fucking shit. I don't remember the whole joke, but if a Steiner if a Steiner officer gets with an assault mech gets into a fight with a light mech and loses, he get out. He'd be like, "Oh man, I'm glad he didn't have an assault mech."
All right.
Because the officers have an absolute no respect for light mechs or probably even medium mechs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What the fuck this is it isn't super heavily armored. Throw this in a trash can. Throw this onto the urban mech.
Yes,
No.
the urban mech.
Oh yeah. The House Karita is also kind of like a their play style is that they like to use
I
light.
told him about the tactic about sending in the light mechs.
They like light mechs and heavy mechs. And not really
Mhm.
much in between.
Not much in between.
The House Steiner likes the is top heavy.
Ah.
Yeah,
They
like
love
they
the-
have
they
the
love-
lighter stuff, but they prefer to crush them.
It's
Like they're not all
we-
about finesse; they're all about pure brute strength.
You know what? I can admire that. I can actually admire that. It's like, why? If, like we got all this stuff. Why don't we need to like move around, like be careful like light mechs? Just go in, destroy everyone,
Kill them all.
kill them all.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're all about spending the money for the super powerful units instead of being a bounce build or trying to drown him with mediocre mechs.
Instead, we
I-
drown them in heavy mechs.
I respect that.
Yeah. All right, and that's the final one.
Wait. We still have a few. Here
yeah.
we have the Steiner. Steiner. Their leader is called the Archon, and their capital planet is called Tharkod.
All right.
And here's the notable figures of House Steiner. This guy was actually never an Archon. He was from a cadet branch. Do you know what a cadet branch is?
No.
Okay, all right. So you got your king, and he has a bunch of children, and that in the firstborn child that he'll become king.
He's like the nephew.
What the other sons and stuff like that go off and they have cadet branches, which is they'll have like a little territory somewhere off and be in charge of that, but they will not. But they're not going to become king.
Ah.
That's where he's from. His name is Adam Steiner. The most German man alive. Just look at that face.
Yeah.
And the notable thing about him is that he was in charge. He was the lead in a TV show.
Oh, this is the guy.
That is the guy. He in the 90s, Battletech actually had a TV show, and he was the lead character in it. Originally, it was just a TV, but eventually they made the TV show canonical to the universe.
Yes, you know
It
how
was a
they made
propaganda piece.
Yeah,
The TV
they
show
made
exists in universe as a propaganda piece.
That's amazing.
They also changed his hair color, and then the show he's brunette, which is kind of funny.
He also is wearing more of a more noble outfit instead.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this seems like he's in like this seems like he'd be in the halls of the office. And in the TV show, he's fighting for his life. So he would be wearing
he's
more of a
wearing
outfit.
he's wearing just like the tough guy 90s. So he has the vest and the t-shirt and the pants
and the tank top.
Yeah,
looks like
and now we get to
the last one.
Did you really? I didn't. Is that Shang Tsung?
They modeled Maximilian Liao after Shang Tsung.
Okay. So how's Liao? before we tell you anything, what do you think this state is? Just by
Japan.
looking at these images.
Imperial Japan.
That's Imperial Japan.
Shit. What is feudal Japan?
No.
China?
Also technically feudal Japan.
They look. Look, he's
Yes.
some kind
Okay,
of Asian.
getting warmer.
No, like
China,
if you
Korea.
it's
How many?
so
Oh, Korea.
it's
Okay.
yeah, it's
It's
communist.
communist. It's
So North
communist
Korea.
China.
Wait.
with some
are they- Okay.
Russians in there.
All right.
It's called the Compelling Confederation, led by House Liao.
Originally, they were Confederation, but that didn't last long.
That didn't last long.
Of course, it didn't last long. So, yep, it's under their leader. What's the leader's name again?
Fuck, I can't remember. I'll look it up. They're kind of the underdogs. Usually,
Alright.
the leaders are actually pretty good because if not, they wouldn't exist
Chancellor.
as a nation.
They're chancellors.
Chancellor.
Hmm.
In terms of this is the cataphract. This is more of a their play style is sort of the sneaky boys. They like electronic warfare. They love light mechs. They love guerrilla warfare because if not, they would die.
Yeah, so essentially what the Compellins do. So Kurita is the one that is the faction that does the most aggressive, overtly aggressive. Compellins tends to make Scooby-Doo schemes that backfire.
Huh.
Okay, just a sec. Look at the amount. Look at the amount of territory they have here.
All right.
Look at the amount of territory they have there.
Hmm.
They got torn up. They got Davion. Davion was like, yeah. Look at that territory. We're just gonna take it. They would not exist if they didn't have good leadership.
Hmm.
That's their only strength because it's a very top-down structure,
And that also works as a weakness if they have bad leadership.
Okay.
Because if they have bad leadership and it's a very top-down organization, it's gonna be shit.
Ah.
Oh yeah, Davians are also have the best generals.
Hmm.
They have the best military academies and stuff like that. Just
All right.
but the Capellans, all right. So imagine you're bored. You're now a ward of the state, and the state leases you to your parents.
Hmm.
And when you're older, you have to take a test, and if you don't pass that test, you either pass it and become a citizen, or don't pass it and become a second-class citizen.
So nothing's. Oh, so that's just your typical Asian country. Okay. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, but just more extensive.
Just more intense.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing's changed.
Nope.
All right.
They like kooky schemes and stuff like that. The joke is that you see this knife.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say it in Ninjato?
The knife is for each other than their enemies.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
they use that. They use the knife they use your back as a sheath.
Huh.
Yeah, but in reality, also they have a system where it encourages backstabbing among the ranks too. Like you can expect a lot of people manipulating the system to get up ahead in it. Like if you read the main rule book, there's a short story about a guy who seems to say the whole situation looks like an accident. It's just a build up, but then it's revealed that he planned it all, so that he doesn't get a job, to get a personal benefit, because he didn't want to be like a bridge guard.
Ah.
Yeah.
So So the knife is actually for not just their enemies, but for each other.
For each other.
But their notable leader is Maximilian Liao. I own the state.
Okay.
The artists use Carrie, what's his name? They played Shang Tsung
Yeah, I
as a
don't remember
model.
the guy.
Some of the characters are actually they actually have models like Hans Davion and the older stuff look like William Shatner, and he kind of looks like
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan here. Amos, I forget his last name, the baby killer, looks like Michael Ironside.
He kind of does.
Yeah.
He's called a fucking baby killer.
So
The guy's name is the baby killer.
Jeez.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is the periphery, right?
Yeah, periphery.
So the periphery is our state. There are a couple of states that persisted for throughout the entire history of Battletech, but in general, periphery nations are way more loose.
Hmm.
They're because in the periphery is like the frontier.
Yeah, we have the periphery, and then we have the periphery, and the periphery is like they're like frontier nations.
Yeah,
they have a lot more extremes.
Hmm.
So like let's start with the Space Texans.
The Turian Concordate, which is these guys. They're led by House Calderon.
And yeah, they are fiercely. They're known for not wanting to be part of the inner sphere at all, and they hate Davion. Because every time when you have a Davion, a person who's Davion, and they want them to be incompetent idiot, he keeps invading the Tolkien Concordat.
All right.
Like they actually had to be grounded to a pulp in order to join the Star League.
They also a notable thing about them, they did not sign the Ares Convention. So if you go up against them, you better be ready to get nuked into the ground.
Yeah, well, it didn't help that the first time the Ares Convention was brought up was by House Liao, and they nuked them.
House Liao are dicks as well.
Well, everyone's a dick in Battletech, but you're different flavors.
Did it just go, hey, join us? No. And they just nuked him and just like, hey, what the fuck? You can't nuke us. We never signed your piece of paper.
Yeah, you didn't sign the agreement.
Yeah. The next biggest one would be what's it called again?
Are you talking about
this one?
Space Vegas?
I can't remember. It's
tip of my tongue. Yeah, the Magistrate of Canopus.
The Magistrix of Canopus. The Magistrix of Canopus.
Yeah, so this is
space
so
feminist.
what's unique? Yeah, it's space feminists if they run the porn industry.
Yes. Contradiction.
During the Star League years, they literally most of their economy was literally run off of porn.
Wait. So feminists run the porn industry?
Well, it's feminist because it's a matriarchy.
Okay.
So they rule everything. They rule that, but they rarely get in a fight. Like they were like tentatively. It was a very respectful war during the Reunification War. So not actually a lot of war criming went on.
Unlike the Turians.
Yeah, like the Tolkien Concordat and the Outworlds Alliance were the rough ones.
The Turian Concordat, because they were dicks, and the Outworlds Alliance Not they weren't
because Korea
dicks,
was jerks.
but it was Korea.
Yeah. So anyway, the Canopus is mainly they they are not much of a territorial ambitions as the other houses because they basically run the entertainment center, like Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Yeah. They're also one of the bigger pharmaceutical powers. They have a large pharmaceutical industry, so it's not just porn anymore.
Yeah, so essentially they're like
Not
the
sh-
nations that nobody screws with.
They're not just
Not-
porn industry anymore. They're also big pharma.
It's mostly because their neighbors are South Liao, which don't really have the ability to invade neighbors very much,
Alright.
and the Free Worlds League, which is mostly fighting themselves more than having any territorial ambition. So so this area of space is more peaceful than a lot of others.
Yeah, and then we have the Outrim or Outworlds Alliance, and I can't remember much about them. They're like
They're really the least important. I know right now they're like kind of co-owned by a Clan Raven.
yeah, but like essentially they are they exist.
Use Russian.
Okay, they exist. That's the thing about them. They exist as a nation, and like they are an important part of Battletech. Like I think they've been around since the very beginning, but they don't contribute much.
Alright.
Or I could be wrong, but in terms of me in my head, like thinking about like the big power plays throughout it, they were like the least interesting and the least has the least identity. Like compared to the other periphery nations, because another one that is not on there. Let me just. It's is let me the Regan Reach.
Alright.
So the Regan Reach is not. You can see it. It's actually that far right image in the middle. And the Regan Reach is the only thing important about it as a periphery state is that it's the setting for the turn-based Battletech game, the newest Battletech game.
Alright.
And its story is tied to the campaign, but it's typical noble houses, and it follows a similar story of most Battletech stories that we can talk about after our overview of the factions.
It's right around this area between the Free Worlds League, Capella Confederation, and Magistrix.
It borders Davion, the Torian Cordoat, and Liao. That's actually the border.
Okay, yeah, that makes a bit more sense because it's a lot more of a hot area.
Yeah. And then we have what's that? A spinning spiral. The Kurita and Davion.
This one?
Do you know that?
That's the Outworlds Alliance.
Outworlds, all right. Oh, okay.
I
forgot. Okay, and then you got the Rimworlds League.
Stefan Amaris was
there.
They're dead now. They don't exist.
They're dead now.
Yeah, they got wiped out during that Civil War.
All right.
Kerensky turned around and he was like, Die.
Like that was actually his first thing. Before he went to Terra, he went and destroyed the power base, and then he
Yeah.
went to Terra.
Have you talked about the
And-
Marian hegemony yet?
Not yet. I was waiting. Waiting for you. And then, so the Marian hegemony is a recent. It's actually one of the cool factions I like about the newer lore. So in BattleTech, the BattleTech game originally was under a company called FASA, and then that company fell, and then they were under WizKids, and they made their own BattleTech game. And I'm not sure when this faction came about, but they made Space Romans.
Space Romans.
Slaves. They love slaves. Slaves everywhere.
Slave. You were a slave. You're a slave. Everyone's a slave.
Like, the other guys are like feudalism. These guys are like literally slave state.
Yeah, they have, but it's
They just
Rome.
left for slaves.
They have a leader and they have a senate.
It's an Irish guy, House O'Reilly, going and LARPing as a Roman Republic.
That's even better.
All right.
Speaking of LARPers,
Oh,
Are we moving on to the
yeah, we're moving on.
there's LARPers.
if I had a nickel from
Oh,
every time
Comstar.
I had a techno cult bet at a monopoly on very important pieces of technology in a gaming setting, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird to happen twice.
Comstar.
I
Yeah.
love this image because
So Comstar is imagine monks who are the only guys who can operate the internet, and they're also every 3-letter organization in world history.
they are
Okay.
the alphabet agency.
They are the alphabet agency. Oh, I hate them
So
already.
they came about from the remnants of the Star League. So their leader was Blake.
This Amish looking guy right here.
Hmm.
And he was the last member of the Star League that was allowed to continue on.
The great houses were like, okay, we actually need the internet. So hey, yo, Jerome Blake, you are in charge here. Don't fuck up. And they left.
Yeah, and so, but as
Did he
part
fuck
of the power play of when Kerensky left, Kerensky left a bunch of people loyal to him and Blake to become the military to enforce that the Earth is independent.
Huh.
And thus he began to store all the old technologies, all the warships into storage locker, trying to prevent all the other nations to grab them, including mechs, and hidden them throughout all in stashes all over the inner sphere. And then on his dying day, he said some things, and they didn't understand what he said. And thus you have people treated Blake as Jesus.
Techno Jesus.
Techno Jesus.
Yeah, like his successor decided, okay, what Blake wanted is that we have to play both sides and then we come up on top to restore the Star League.
We got to play both sides.
So that's what they've been doing. So all of the succession wars after the first 2, Comstar was behind it. Any technology,
except for the the 4th one.
yeah,
Except for the fourth
where it was all Hanse Davion.
essentially most of the succession war after the first one and the 4th one, so in the middle 2, Comstar was in charge because they wanted to have everyone destroy all their assets. so that they can take over. And then they go even further. So if you were a scientist who discovered an advancement in technology, you'll conveniently have an accident.
Ah, like a like a mining accident.
Yeah, if you happen to come across a battleship in space that had nothing in it, and you communicated to your leader about it, suddenly a bunch of mechs, all in white, comes up and destroys the whole thing in front of you.
Wow.
And you're lucky to be alive.
And then you get a message from on the internet from nobody in particular saying, "Fuck you, bitch! I roasted your mom last night." Yeah, but okay, just you know, this is Conrad Toyama, the guy who religiousized, made Comstar a cult. This
Ah.
him when he's this him when he's young. This him when he's old.
What happened to him?
He played too much D&D, and he wanted to roleplay his level 20 wizard.
Is this what you meant by like cosplay? LARPing?
He seems like a fucking.
Well, I was meant for the next group, but this matches.
All right.
So the most are you talking about Folked?
About what?
Do you have Folked?
Yeah, I was just saying that the Comstar also utilizes Inner Sphere mercenaries as well. And they also
Oh yeah, they're responsible for them.
they are responsible for
It's gonna seem responsible.
being
For a lot of
they're
things.
usually like a middle. They also work as a middleman in markets between like mercenaries and whoever's hiring them. And they also hire disgruntled Inner Sphere employees like this guy.
Oh.
And then a little bit later, a faction of them called the Word of Blake decided, all right, no internet for anybody, and we're nuking all of you.
Fun.
And they're called and it ushered in the small age called the Jihad, which
So, you can't escape the jihads.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they're not done too well, but good. It's supposed to be like a good concept, bad execution kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but basically, what happened afterwards is that Comstar became no more. Essentially,
I kind of want Comstar to not exist, but the Word of Blake to still exist. That'd be funny.
Yeah,
And if I had a,
but
if I had a
we'll
nickel
get
for
into
every,
it like, soon.
if I had a nickel for every
soon
big science. Oh, real quick, I just want to say, if I had a nickel for every big like science fiction story that had a jihad take place. Well, I don't know, there's probably more than two, but I only know
The
oh,
two that you know
so.
of.
Yeah, two that I know of.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird to happen twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we doing mercenaries or the other group?
Clans.
All right, we have to talk about the elephant.
All right.
So remember Kerensky?
Yeah.
Well,
So this is the result of his brilliant idea. So
all right,
on the
but,
way.
Here, let me explain this. All right, so you know how he made his Star League and he got the blackjack and hookers.
Yes.
Those blackjack and hookers took over everything, and now it's a million times weirder.
Yeah. So what happens is that after some trouble along the way, they founded a nice cluster that had perfectly habitable planets, and then they set out to make their Star League. Yeah. And guess what happened? The Compellens members of the SLEF decided to incite a war. And they had their own mini succession war. And Chad Kerensky, died of a broken heart. He was
He had a
also
heart
very
attack.
old. He was very old, and he died of a heart attack. He died of a broken heart. So, who took up but his failure of a son? Now, all Clans fans love Nicholas Kerensky. I don't like him. He's a failure because seeing the results of his father's action, he decided to look into history. And he thought, freedom makes no sense.
Freedom. Cringe.
Yeah, so...
You want freedom? Cringe!
But you know what? We are soldiers, so we need to have a warrior society. A society to make great warriors. And honorable warriors. So, let's take it from a caste system.
Oh, God.
And Mao is a great inspiration.
Oh, God.
Genghis Khan. Let's throw a little bit of that in the pile.
Oh, so now they're just gonna be, what, just banging every woman in sight?
And then add a good dose of eugenics.
Oh, so now we're getting Holocaust as well. Jeez.
Yeah, so, and that's, you get the origins of the clans. And by the way, everyone who joined them were veterans of the American Civil War. I'm pretty sure the only way they joined them is because one, their warrior honor, and two, they are so sick and tired of war. So in their society, all fights are done with duels, or where basically clans have to bet, are basically betting on a match of some sort. Whatever they're called trials. And they have like different types, and including trials of assimilation, trials of possession. That trial of possession is the most common one. Basically, I want this tech, or I want this planet. And okay, we're gonna have a match. Either you're gonna have two mech warriors fight each other, or you're gonna have lances fighting each other, or we're just gonna have a full-blown war. But it's in this specific way of fighting. And under these specific conditions, and then the people are trained. The society is structured where there's a code of war of doing it. There was, out of the initial 40 clans, like only 20 of them survived to the current era, and one of the original clans that people love talking about was a clan that was never officially made into a faction because it's a background faction called Clan Wolverine.
Okay.
And Clan Wolverine was made to be the dissenting clan.
Alright.
And they end up getting all destroyed.
Destroyed.
Yeah, but Clan Wolverine is one of those mysteries of Battletech that is left basically an interesting plot thread that was not explored. They kind of introduced this idea that they fled the currency cluster, which is where all the clans are, and went back to the Innisphere and went back to Terra Pacifically, and they became known as the Minnesota Tribe.
The Minnesota Tribe.
Yeah. It's not confirmed. It's not really confirmed. And it's really more of, they're not really made to be a faction, much like the Camerons are. Technically not a faction. And the Cameron actually has that element too, where it's theorized that the possibility that a member of the Cameron house did survive of the Ameris Civil War, because you can probably guess what Ameris did with the Camerons. All of them got killed.
Yeah, I was say nothing too good. Bye.
So, yeah. So then they came back. The clans came back, and generally the clans were split into two factions, where you have the clans that wanted to take over the Innisphere, but to be nice about it. And then you got the Crusaders who just wants to take over everything.
just pound, pound, pound.
Huh.
Yeah, so basically they all have the same dream of rebooting the Star League, but with the original intention of the creators, aka their version.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about them is that they get advanced mechs because they advance their technology further from the succession from the Inner Sphere, because the Inner Sphere didn't blow each other. The clans, after their initial bout, did not blow each other's assets to smithereens. And then they also have this troop type called the Elementals, which are clearly not Space Marines.
Right here, the Elementals and the Omnimex. This is the Mad Cat. Also called by clan fans the Timberwolf, but we're gonna call it the Mad Cat.
Yeah, the clan fans are called clanners. So, and
All right.
and so you got there's a bunch of clans, but really they're all the same. They're all the same. There's not really a distinct culture behind each of the clans.
Well, Clan Ghost Bear Scandinavian.
Okay, yeah, there are a few exceptions. So let's go over the 4 major ones.
All
So
right.
there's so you got Ghost Bear. Okay, they have Scandinavians, but they're the nice clan, the super nice clan.
They end up actually joining with a this, you see this this called the Free Rossahog Republic was originally a border state between the Lions and between the Federated Commonwealth, which existed for a bit.
Yeah, that's
we won't talk about right now, but it was a thing
yeah.
for a bit. Yeah, it was gone too soon. Really cool idea, gone too soon. Remember when we talked about Hanse Davion and he married the Steiner daughter? This is what happened. Eventually,
Right.
Civil War and stuff like that happened, but Free Rossahog Republic was a border nation between the Changhis and the Federated Commonwealth.
Just think Space Poland.
Space Poland, but with a Scandinavian culture, and the Ghost Bears was like, you have a Scandinavian culture, I have a Scandinavian culture, and they did the Predator handshake, and then it just kind of combined.
Well, after they conquer them, and do you know about the story about how they conquer one planet?
Tell.
Okay, so one planet decided, because the way the Ghost Bear, because the Clanner's way is like, okay, we challenge you for a trial of possession. What's going to be your challenge? Usually the challenge was fight back with your military. But one planet decided, you know what? They may not know our ways. We'll challenge them to a sport. And we'll do American football, the true football.
A true football.
And they thought, oh, this is going to be easy. We're going to trounce them and we're going to win. Not knowing that football is Ghost Bear's favorite sport. And they specifically they have Pacific Elementals to play football.
And then these are elementals. Look at them. This is a chick elemental. This is what eugenics get you in the clanners.
I see.
They could. Yeah, it became Blood Bowl very quickly.
That's just. I know Common will like her.
Oh yeah, Common will definitely love an elemental. But so you got Ghost Bear, and then you got Jade Falcon. Jade Falcon are the Orthodox.
All right.
Jade Falcon are like aren't they like the Uber Crusade one? They're also the villains for the Battletech TV show.
Yeah, they're the ones that had the stick up their butts about the rules and stuff. Smoke Jaguar is even worse. They're the super bad guys, ones that get wiped out by the clan invasions, and then recently get resurrected for no reason.
I kind of hope that they get wiped out again. because
Okay.
that would be
We'll
funny.
we'll soon get into it because we're almost done with going over overview, and then we got Clan Wolf.
What's wrong with Clan Wolf?
All right,
So
so
remember when we mentioned about recent favorites?
Uh huh.
This is their favorite,
Ah.
and it's super
Clan-
obnoxious.
Clan Wolf is a Mary Sue.
Are they like what's what's the Warhammer faction that like everyone
They're
Ultramarines?
worse.
Yeah, the
Any-
Ultramarines.
They're worse than the Ultramarines and Grey Knights combined because they've been like this since their inception. So the whole reason the Clan Invasion operated the way they did was that Clan Wolf, which is by the way Nicholas's Kerensky's clan, which adds a big irony, is that they tend to also deviate. Like they're the ones that much like the Ultramarines, they tend to be practically minded, even though they still follow the rules of the clans
Hmm.
and whatever. So they are actually wardens, and they were like the most hesitant of going on invasions. So
Hmm.
when they did, but they manipulated in such a way instead of bringing out the whole clans to take over the whole thing, they only did a select number
Ah.
of clans, and but they ended up becoming on top of this whole thing. So you have like you have a bunch of states that were owned now in the Innisphere by the clans. And the way the Wolf got on top, well, they sent some of them ahead to become the Wolves Dragoons, a mercenary company.
All right.
And then had those Dragoons help out the Innisphere with stuff.
Hmm.
And then they end up getting on top. They end up getting wiped out from the clans because after the clan invasion, they have this thing called the Raving,
Hmm.
where a whole bunch of clans just gets wiped out and absorbed into other clans and stuff. So now they separated from the clans that are in the currency cluster to the ones that are now in the inner sphere.
Hmm.
But right now, the Clan Wolf evolved into the Wolf Empire.
Huh.
And they've been getting away with spending all their resources enough to wipe out Clan Jade Falcon. That would logically means they get destroyed and all their territory get taken over by the other states, mainly the Lyran Commonwealth and Merrick.
Hmm.
And Ghostbear, you think, but instead they get away with it.
Hmm.
They just get away with it. Nothing is happening to them. Nothing really bad. Right now, Merrick has finally decided to go invade, and Ghostbear you think would actually attack him because the leader, Alec Ward, explicitly insulted their leadership and their way of governance because by this point, Ghostbear is more of a hybrid between an inner sphere state and a clan state.
Hmm.
They allow things like mobility, social mobility in their system.
All right.
But instead, Clan Ghostbear is like, oh yeah, we're gonna instead not attack you because you insulted us and caused our state to go into civil war. We're gonna take the Draconis Combine.
All right.
Because that's smart.
Well, the Federation
Because
are
we're
happy
gonna
about
simp
that.
for Wolf Empire because we need a clear bad guy in this setting, and Wolf Empire is the closest thing to be the clear bad guys. And the only people who are actually giving them a bloody nose are the Wolf's Dragoons.
Hmm.
Yeah, but here in our notable characters, we have Aiden Pride from the Jade Falcons. I don't know anything about him aside from the fact that he looks like Chris Redfield, so I put him on there.
All right.
And that is Natasha Kerensky, aka the Black Widow. She is part of Clan Wolf. She was part of the Wolf's Dragoon, but then reunited with Clan Wolf. Died during the Raving.
She also
and the reason
is the black. She is also Black Widow from Marvel. Red hair, Russian. Um, and
Literally
name
has a
Black.
spider symbol.
Name is Natasha.
Ah.
Yeah, and also the reaving, just the reaving. The reason why it's called the reaving is that during certain trials, I think trials of annihilation, if you wipe out the clan, you take all the blood names. So their names are actually, they're not means that you get direct descendant from people. You take their names uh, as part of like a warrior caste system.
Hmm.
You earn it essentially.
All right.
So, oh yeah, by the way, and the reason why the clans did not take over everything is because of Comstar.
Ah.
All right, all
Uh,
right. We liked you for a bit when you were fucking over the great houses, but now you're on our doorstep, and that can't happen.
Yeah, so they challenged them to a battle called the Battle of Tukiid, and
Tuckyard.
no, I hear Tukiid.
I've always heard Turkyard.
It's
What's the right version?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
yeah,
matter. All right.
but essentially it's this battle over a planet that Comstar purposely made into a death trap for clanners. And then they not only did that, they brought out all their old mechs that they put in storage that is still good enough to battle the new the clan mechs.
Basically,
Oh.
this. The clans, when they discovered that the Intersphere enemies using such unerring tactics such as logistical chains and making full use of a vastly superior industrial base.
Yeah, that's the main problem with the clans is that they didn't have
They have to have blitzkrieg tactics because if they slow down into a war of attrition, they lose really quickly.
Mm.
they tried to, and also their honor system only works for like personal duels and in a controlled environment, and the Earth Sphere is World War One. There, which makes all of the recent writing about it. Like at this point, like yes, the clans are in the Innisphere has incorporated some of the Innisphere stuff because they learned the hard
Had
way
to.
about. But still, ugh.
But here
All
we
right.
have mercenaries.
Mercenaries. All right.
So essentially, mercenaries are actually kind of the main source of both stories, and they're basically everything that if you don't really want to be part of a major faction, you could just make your own mercenary company.
Ah.
And they're also kind of like the beginning. If you want to get into Battletech and say what's your faction, you could always pick a mercenary company.
Hmm. All right.
And they tend to be the ones that are main characters in novels.
All right.
So in the middle, my symbol is the first one you'll probably ever, if you want to read Battletech novels, uh, Grayson Carlisle of the Grey Death Legion.
Hmm.
Oh, by the way, I think it's also his name is like Grayson Death Carlisle.
I know. I always pronounce it as Death because death is too on the nose.
All right.
But yeah, it's not called the Grey Death Legion because of like a cool name. That's literally.
You want to hear a story?
Sure.
In the Warhammer setting, we have these things called land raiders.
Hmm.
Why do you think they're called land raiders?
They raid lands.
A guy called Arkan Land found them, the designs
Okay.
for them, so they
His
were
name is
named
Land.
after a guy called Arkan Land.
Huh. So the Raiders named after a guy named Land.
Yeah, it's a vehicle.
Huh. Okay.
It's like, what is the probability of that?
Uh. I don't know. I'll name my kid Land. Your name is Land.
Well, we got like the Kellhounds. I don't know much
Hmm.
about them.
Yeah, I don't know much about like. There's so many. I know the Northwind Highlanders
Those
are
guys.
the descendants of the Black Watch. The only faults with them is that they tend to get contracts from the
Hmm.
Compellans.
All right.
We got the Wolves Dragoons.
Yeah, that's the other one I know, but
We also
they're
got
declaring war.
independent mercenaries that are usually like a guy and his team, like the Bounty Hunter. Meet,
Ah.
meet the Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter. Nobody knows what he looks like under that mask, but he, passes it off to a new generation every few years, and he's
Ah.
Boba Fett.
Hmm.
Oh, this is new. That's cool.
You didn't know about that?
Oh no, I didn't know about him. Like, there's
Oh.
so much in BattleTech that I don't know.
The
Oh,
The bounty hunter
which
is
makes it awesome.
a mysterious mercenary. That each generation a new passes his armor and sign on to a new member. And he had a notorious particular rivalry. One of them had a particular rivalry with Natasha Kerensky. He beat the shit out of her and stole her mech.
That's
All right.
why I probably didn't know. I haven't read the Wolf Dragoons books. So,
I haven't read those
is
either.
that it with the slides?
There's got a general one right here.
Okay, so we'll just use this and talk about why would you want to, everything else BattleTech. Like, okay, so why would you want to how to get into BattleTech? So you could get into BattleTech actually. In terms of lore stuff, you could pick out the rule books.
Huh.
Because the rule books also contain short stories.
Oh, okay.
And also, if you pick up the beginner box set in Armor Combat, they have like a mini story. They have stories in them too.
All right.
And of course, you got book series. I recommend the Great Death Legion trilogy. That is actually the first trilogy that was made for BattleTech. So back in the old school days.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, you could pick up a mercenaries. Of course, you got the various games, like you got the BattleTech game, and then you got Mech Warrior, which is cool. And then, of course, you got lots of YouTube videos. The two main ones I recommend is Tex Talks BattleTech, where it starts out originally of him talking about individual mechs, and now it has evolved as not only he's going to talk about the individual mech, but he's also going to talk about the history around the mech, if it's tied to a certain event. He also did excellent documentaries, excellent work on telling the whole story of the American Civil War and the origins of the clans.
All right.
Another YouTube channel I highly recommend is Sven van der Plank. He's German, and he is doing a detailed history of BattleTech, the story of the entire history of the setting. Very cool. Like, he's going into the very nitty gritty. Like, he's just getting into right now. He's still in the American Civil War right now. And then of course you got the tabletop game. And I have played a few games of it. I really want to get more into it. I haven't done the whole local game store stuff yet, but that would be so much fun just to do it. But I have been painting the models and stuff, and they're great too. All right, What do you like about it, Matchstick?
I really like the mechs are really cool, being a lot more tanky than like Gundams. Um, the factions are really cool too, and I love that the fact that the timeline actually progresses. It's not stagnant.
Hmm.
So things might be shit right now, but it can always you know the universe will
It can get
continue
worse.
and get worse. Yes. Yeah, but
Who knows? It could always get worse.
Yeah. Um. So I love BattleTech because of like all those things. And I also like how when early on, right, it progressed like an act like I totally would believe it in a historical sense.
Hmm.
Like Warhammer or like Star Wars is like
What about
there's
Dune?
just some leap. I mean Warhammer specifically as like a future human setting
All right.
take a huge leap. And like even with Gundam, like a lot of stuff, like Gundam and a lot of settings is like it's good meant for a story rather than I don't think if this is how it would actually work out in this scenario.
So
Uh,
you like realism.
in term when I say realism in settings, I'm thinking more like not so much like individual characters in a story, but like when you're
Okay.
talking about the setting and like how the setting moves and stuff. I want some form of realism uh other than like the main stories are like the moments where the universe changes.
Okay.
Uh I like it a bit more where the story takes place within the universe and yes, some stories will affect the overall universe, but others are not so important.
Hmm.
And Gundam is more unless it's set during the 1 year war, it's more into the story of Gundam will change the universe.
Well, there's a lot of side stories too.
Well, yeah, that's there are side stories, but they're not. I'm talking about like the main, like the most of the series are
So
about the major changing
you don't
points.
want the main story making big changes all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, it, and it like I think my big thing is that the universe. Uh, again, I love Gundam, but I think in terms of the universe is small,
All right.
super small and super thin. Uh, like once you're done with the
Oh,
story,
it is also physically small. Like one story takes place mostly around Earth, and then you're talking about comparing to a story where it's like
yeah,
spans across the like the actual literal universe.
yeah, of course of that. Technically, it's like only like the Milky Way,
But still, like like that's a
Matchstick.
galaxy,
not
Yeah,
even that. It's a really small section of space compared to most. It's not even a galaxy. It's just
like a solar system.
like 2,000 stars compared to like the 3 billion, like the million planets that
But
yeah, like
Warhammer has.
still like that's like like something amount of stars compared to type of story that sets mostly focused around like Earth and like the furthest we go is like maybe like
well, I think for
the
me is
moon.
that it's not so much like the scale. It's also like BattleTech an example of it's a very small in comparison to like Warhammer or like other universes, but
Okay.
they do so much with the space they have. And like there's like aspects you talk about like in terms of like stories like oh I just want a story that is mostly politics. Oh, you could do that. Or I want to have what happened of in this nation. What's the whole story of this specific nation? You can get that. You could get a pretty decent chunk of it. and
Alright.
maybe even a book or two, or like even a specific unit. Like there are even books that Battletech's like support books that gives you specific armaments of the mechs they had during certain years.
Hmm.
Like as opposed to Gundam, where it's like, yeah, we have like a few armaments, but here's a cool design. But here's a few armaments, and they're like the same things. It's like, in Battletech, they do the whole my beer approach,
Huh. Alright.
where like one mech has like 20 variations throughout the
Hmm.
entire history.
Alright.
But now I do have to mention my problems with it.
Hmm.
The writing sucks nowadays.
It,
Oh.
it
That's a
has
shame.
some issue. Okay, so current lore. So after the clan invasions, they had some good ideas, but they had the brilliant idea to keep it within a lifetime.
Hmm.
Where you have the FedCon Civil War, where the Steiner and Davion split off again,
Hmm.
and the Capellan Confederation is still around, even though the Forces Section Wars should have taken them out. And
Hmm.
then you have the case of the Dark Age,
Alright.
and the Dark Age basically ruined because they cut out the communications. The communications that made these big empires exist no longer exist. So now, but they didn't do the whole warring states things. They still remained it, but it was still in limbo for a while that people don't
Alright.
know. And now we have the Old Clan, as I mentioned, the problems of Clan Wolf and the Wolf Empire, and then the Lyran Commonwealth is in a sad state. Oh yeah, and by the way, during the FedCon Civil War, they killed off a bunch of popular mercenary groups,
Oh.
including the Great Death Legion.
Oh, dang.
Not happy about that, but they're bringing them back now
Alright.
because the game is now popular again. But that's just like current setting. Battletech also has this issue of the types of stories is very limited.
Alright.
As in, you're either going to have the books be about the political maneuvering of all the leaders of the nations, or it's going to be about a mercenary student, a mercenary whose commander slash mentor figure slash father figure gets killed off during a mission. He's alone on a planet and he has to either rebuild his father's mercenary company or make his own new company. And it's about his journey from that point on and him being important, and that he will end up doing something very important for the whole overall setting. That is the plot of the Mech Warrior games, most of them, Great Death Legion, and the new BattleTech game, and Mech Warrior 5.
Mech Warrior 5.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
Do you have problems with the setting Matchstick?
It definitely needs some house cleaning right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is, but I will say this: at least you could go back. There's plenty of content of just going back and just enjoying the old stuff. And I wouldn't be upset with the current setting if the game does not market itself primarily with the old setting, using the older stuff. Like if you pull out like a introduction sheet, you get a full page of each of the houses, and then you literally have a page for the clans in general. And I think, like, for me, like, my problem with the clans is they kind of act the same at first glance. There's not really, like, identity showing up. until you dig deep in it. But even then, it's like, oh, Ghost Bear is the only unique one, and then Wolf is the Mary Sue.
All right.
So, anything else?
So moral of the story: the wolves aren't good.
Steiner good. Wolf bad.
Steiner
Yeah.
good, wolf bad.
Yeah, Steiner forever.
Oh,
And if all you Wolf fans say that they are superior, we'll send in the Steiner Scouts.
send the Steiner scouts and just blow everyone to Kingdom Come.
Yeah,
All right.
I do have a favorite clan,
Oh, okay.
and it's a Clan Hellhorse.
Who are they?
Essentially, they are a crusading clan that specialize in combined arms.
Huh.
Oh, which is, by the way, one of the greatest things about Battletech is the emphasis on combined arms.
Okay.
I wish Gundam focused a lot more on that, like it did on the early on, but later on it was mostly on Gundam, like mech on mech fights, and as opposed to like it should be like as part of the thing, like
you
in
gotta sell
terms
those
of a
model
war
kits.
story.
Yeah, you gotta sell those model kits. You gotta show the cool robot.
Yeah, but we can
That way,
still have some
kids
like,
will.
Yes,
plain
yes.
kids-
mix.
You
I'm
got
just
plenty
saying,
of
like
ways to
I'm
show
just
how
saying
cool.
that's why it's like that because they want to sell those model kits. Oh.
I think it's more than that, but
It's mostly model kit. Gotta sell those model kits.
yeah, even like BattleTech had the problem. Right now they're setting up for a new Kickstarter for like the first original set that wasn't reprinting of old stuff and bringing it to the modern times. Is they're finally trying to update the combined arms aspect.
All right.
So we're actually getting tanks and of helicopters and stuff.
What's your favorite mech?
Favorite mech. Oh,
Mine's the Atlas. It looks so cool.
yeah.
Atlas.
I will say for unseen mechs, the Shadowhawk.
Oh, the Atlas. Yeah.
And then for original creations or stuff that I think it's original, I would say the Atlas is cool. But then for a clan mech, I really like the Executioner, and I don't have it yet, but I really want to get it. It's you get mechs in the 4-pack, and by the way, all the mechs are fully assembled.
All right.
So you can really just paint them. And I want to get the Klondike. The Kodak. It's like a Ghost Bear's mech.
Huh.
It sounds like a candy bar.
Let me see. How do you spell it?
No, it's a Kodiak.
Kodiak.
Oh, Kodiak.
The C.
So,
K?
okay, that sounds like a Metal Gear device.
Another one is the
Huh.
Okay.
can't remember the
Changhis, imagine this is like a game about Metal Gears.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, look at this guy. It's got like Wolverine claws going on. I looked up the Kodiak. It's got like Wolverine claw. It kind of looks like a Fallout mech. You know those Fallout power suits, but like with like Wolverine claws. Like, okay.
another one that I love, and this is like from what's so funny. I like the mechs from the later eras. a bit more, because they tend to become more humanoid and accepting of the power sword and more melee. That's one of my problems with Battletech, actually, in terms of gameplay and stuff. Not enough melee weapons. Everything becomes like it's literally they drive tanks. I get it, but you give them arms and you give rules for punching mechs, and you have it that you can punch mechs and destroy them, but you don't give weapons meant for that purpose. But I have the Hatamoto.
Hatamoto.
It's a samurai.
All right.
And another, I also I wish this the type of, there's a mech called the land and air mech. The land and air mech in the universe, they're completely useless. But I want it, and the concept is it's a transforming mech. They took remember those when I mentioned about they took Macross mechs?
Yeah.
So the Phoenix Hawk was one of them, and there's a variant where it transforms into a jet. But in lore, it's useless.
In lore, it's useless.
Yeah, because it requires a part for it to transform that is very expensive, and it doesn't do well. It has to be like a medium mech, which is on the lower end of mech design. But it's also not as good as a regular fighter, because fighters are still a thing.
But transforming suits are cool, though.
Well, in the world of BattleTech, it doesn't. Rule Cool does not operate on Rule Cool alone.
I don't know. I'm just saying those. But it's cool. It could turn into a jet.
Yeah, which is why I really wish, like, at this point with the modern, so like the stuff that I want in the future, one of the things I want is to make previous dumb design stuff in lore, so like the transforming mech, actually viable now, because you're in the future. Like we're literally like 100 years, hundreds of years after like development of certain mechs, and you would think they would develop a way to make them better. But I understand the reason why, but I think it's so.
All right.
So, is there anything else do you want to talk about, Matchstick?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who suffer through or discussing how awesome BattleTech is, and we'll probably next time we're going to be talking about dwarves. Yeah, we're going to talk about dwarves next time.
Yeah, but robots are cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about BattleTech more about BattleTech at other points, like going into Pacific. Like I did buy a book called BattleTech Legends, which goes over major figures of each era. So we could do like Pacific stories about Pacific individuals. We can even do like broad categories of mechs or even Pacific mechs.
We can watch the Battletech TV show.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. That would be fun.
TV show.
Yeah, it's an early '90s cartoon. It's one of the first cartoons that use 3D animation.
Rough.
And you said that's propaganda in universe.
Yes. Yeah.
It's great. That's fantastic. All right.
yeah. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.